A lot of times when I watch streams of tournaments, whether it be local events or regional events or PGR events with the top 10 players in the world, there are a lot of common mistakes being made by the people that commentate at locals and at high levels tournaments. I feel like there are common mistakes being made by not just people at the locals, but people at those PGR events in terms of commentating the fucking set. And I'm speaking on behalf of people who watch tournaments as players who are trying to get insight on how people play the game really well so we can get better as players ourselves, or as spectators who just actually want to be entertained by what's happening on the screen. And of course, by the people who are commentating the set. But more specifically, I'm speaking on behalf of all the other niggas who find themselves muting the stream mad often when they watch tournaments, because the commentary is either not providing the insight for the players who want to get better, or it's not providing nearly enough entertainment value for the spectator. And the reason why it fails on both those fronts is because there are common mistakes that are exhibited by commentators at low levels and high levels alike. And I feel like it's important to be critical about these things, not just to make tournaments better for the people who want to enjoy and learn as they watch, but because it's important for the people who get paid to commentate these high-profile events to be held to a high standard. And I just want you to be better at what you do. I feel like this is just something that a lot of motherfuckers need. So if you're a commentator or you're somebody who wants to get into commentary, then I feel like this is something that you need to hear, because I'm speaking on behalf of the niggas that you might get hate from. So without further ado, here are some things that you should not do if you are commentating.
You gotta do what? I gotta believe.
Today we're gonna go over 5 things that I recommend you avoid doing when you're on commentary. The first thing, first and foremost, that a lot of lower level commentators do is not talk about the match that's happening. Here's an example.
2 patches ago for Daisy, there was a difference between Peach and Daisy for like one thing, and it was Turnip's knockback. Richter and Simon is that their holy water has different effects. I don't think they should like change the characters. I feel like they're completely fine the other way. I can play Ryu just like a little bit. I can do all the inputs, but I'm not good at like confirming.
They're like Street Fighter.
I remember seeing a Ryu main, I think a Pound, and I'm pretty sure he used the Smash Box, and that's it.
Now, it's pretty clear that the commentary we were just listening to was talking about things that were completely irrelevant to the match that was happening. First of all, Daisy, Simon, Richter, those were characters that he was talking about, but none of those characters were even on the screen to begin with. So there's no reason to really talk about them at all to great length like he did. Second of all, the commentator was talking about his own experience playing as characters that were in the match, instead of talking about the players who are using those characters in the match that's currently happening. One thing you have to realize as a commentator is that people don't really care that much about you as a commentator when a set is currently happening. They care about what's going on the screen. So you should be trying to sell what's happening on the screen. That should be your #1 priority. And sure, some commentators at a higher level are established personalities who can get away with talking about themselves a little bit more and still maintaining the audience interest. But the main thing is talking about the match and selling the viewer on the match that's happening to keep them invested, to keep them entertained, or keep them wanting to watch the set or learn from the set, whatever the case is. Add insight to what's going on, or commentary on what's going on in the match that's happening on the screen. That should be any commentator's main goal, whether you're at your local or you're commentating a big event that's in your region or wherever. Not accomplishing that goal is going to make people either stop watching or just mute the audio. So because of that, you need to fulfill that goal, or else there's no point in being on commentary at all, quite frankly. The second thing you want to avoid when you're commentating is talking for too long about one particular thing. The tricky thing about commentary and public speaking in general that is kind of understated is that it's a lot of time management. You don't want to linger on one topic for too long. Here's another example.
If they lose his finals, things starting off for Kalos Pokemon League. You're going to see a lot of them, folks. Damage is going to build so quickly on both of these players. He's got to get himself out of versus Suarez mode and pick himself right back up.
Yeah, totally different ball game here, both in terms of the character matchup and the player matchup. You're just not going to see that same drifty aerial gameplay of Suarez and Yoshi now that Ally's on the screen. It's going to be a much more grounded fight. It's going to be a much more patient fight.
On top of that, Ally just previously coming off of playing a very counter-responsive.
Let's stop it right there. Now, both commentators are doing a really good job of giving an explanation of what the match is going to be like, but they're missing out on all this stuff that's happening in the match while this explanation is being given. Already 15 seconds have passed and already Snake's at kill percent. So far, yeah, look at that. Nice combo into the grenade, but the commentators aren't talking about the fact that Light just took Ally's first stock in 20 seconds because they're busy explaining how the match is going to go. And now here we go, sick grenade throw. But the commentators don't catch that, as it's a cooked grenade that just barely caught Light as he was trying to get back onto the stage. And then another 20 seconds passes, and already Light is losing his first stock of his own to a back air. And the commentators missed all of that because they were busy giving their explanation, which was good, but they lingered on that explanation for too long and ended up missing 40 seconds of gameplay. Third thing you want to avoid doing on Smash commentary is spreading false information. Now, this doesn't have to mean you know everything about the game, because obviously nobody knows everything about the game. But at the same time, if there's things that you don't know about what a character does, then you might just, opt to say something other than a fact that may not be true. For example, say you're on commentary and then some dude comes up using a character that not a lot of people play, like Me Gunner or Piranha Plant or Pac-Man or Duck Hunt or Bowser Jr., whatever. If you don't know the specifics of what that character can do, then just use general information. Try talking about the player's abilities instead of the character's abilities, For example, say somebody's playing Me Gunner, again, an unfamiliar character, or Duck Hunt, some character with projectiles that are kind of strange in how they behave, but at the same time, they're zoning somebody out with them. You can just talk about how the player is zoning their opponent out really well, or talking about how they're laying a lot of traps for their opponent to try and get in against, or which affects their approach game. You can use phrases like that are player-based instead of character-based in order to accentuate the player's strengths while still providing just enough information for the viewers to be able to digest what you mean. And you're successfully hiding your ignorance, so that's a really good thing to do. Saying things that are true or untrue about how the game works can enhance or reduce your credibility, which as a result is going to make the viewer more invested in the commentary or less invested in the commentary. Fourth thing you want to avoid is thinking that being loud and making a match exciting are always the same thing. Because being loud all the time does not mean that the match is always going to be more exciting because of it. Here's an example.
Doesn't even matter, but you're contesting.
Oh my God, don't go deep! Oh, Cindy! Stop screaming, nigga! Damn! When the match gets down to the wire or something, then it makes sense to raise your voice or something like that, because it's an exciting time in that specific match. But you don't want to blow the niggas' ears up when they're watching the goddamn tournament. You kind of want to, be considerate of the viewers' fucking hearing and shit. It's an exciting time, so it makes sense to, get excited, because you're watching a tournament too. It makes sense to be excited about the match too, just like the viewers. But just yelling in excess, it's grating on the ears. It actually gets mad annoying, because you gotta turn the volume down to get this nigga to stop blowing up your eardrums and shit. And you don't want to force the hype. Hype is always the best when it's authentic, when it comes naturally, not artificially injected. There are other ways to make a match exciting if it's exciting. There are other ways to point out how down to the wire, how exciting, or how interesting, or how engaging a match is. You can use words instead of intonation in your voice and volume in your voice to make a match more exciting, or explain the intricacies of what's going on, or show to the viewers just how close the match is. So it's important to just keep that in consideration. The fifth and final recommendation I have on what to avoid as a Smash commentator is the idea that negative criticism is always hate. If someone says that you are weak in one area, or says that you didn't do so well on one specific day or during a certain commentary block, you gotta understand that there are different dimensions to people who say that you could have done better or that you didn't do well. Understand that it's coming from a viewer perspective. Understand that there may be some kind of truth in what they said, and understand that improvement and growth is an ongoing process. The best advice I can give you, and the reason I made this video to begin with, is being a good commentator or being an okay commentator, it just starts with not being a bad commentator. Every point I've given is a bad commentary tendency. So when I say not to do X or not to do Y, what I'm saying is that avoiding these tendencies is how you get better and how you get more consistently good. So for anybody who's watching this video, anybody who goes to their local tournaments and commentary's open, you feel like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll talk on the mic. Or for anybody who commentates at a higher level, whether it's a big ass major event, or it's a small scale regional, or it's just your local, or a large scale tournament, whatever the case it is, then just consider these things. If you can avoid doing bad commentary tendencies, then automatically you're doing a decent job, because you're doing not the bare minimum, but you're doing enough to be engaging enough for the viewers to keep watching. And ultimately, they'll end up wanting to keep listening to you too. So thanks for watching. Hope that you appreciated the advice I had to offer. If there's anything that you think I could have included that I didn't, or I left out in this video, then leave it in the comments below, or let me know on Twitter. If you liked what I had to say or thought that it was productive, then click the like button for me, help me out. If there's any commentators in your scene, or any commentators that you like, or any commentators that you don't like, then just share this with them so they can improve. Because I'm going to be completely honest, there are commentators that I can't stand, but I would rather them watch this video and be being constructive instead of shit talking like I usually do, and help them improve. So that way, since I'm gonna have to hear them at every tournament anyways, I might as well, you know, enjoy it for a change. So I hope you can use this, guys. Take care. Peace.